All right, man, you're listening to the Hellion Rocks. I heard of a new band recently, well, new to me, that my brother Randy Cooper joined, Emperors and Elephants. I got the record. I've done a review on it. It's totally amazing, and we have the great fortune to have Jason Meudt from the band today talking to us. How are you, Jason?
Hey, James. How's it going, buddy?
Excellent, man. 2014 is looking to me to be a rock and roll year. A lot of great new records coming out, and yours is one of them, and it's leading the pack. Tell me about Emperors and Elephants.
Yeah, right on, man. Well, first off, I got to thank you because I read your review, and it was pretty badass, man. I mean, when you said 15 out of 10, I was like, that is freaking cool, dude. But basically about the band is this is kind of just a little brainchild that Jeff, my guitar player, and I got together a few years ago. And we've played and toured in bands before together, and just, you know, he's one of my best friends, so we've always just stayed close. And he's a really killer, solid guitar player and writer. So, you know, it's funny because we always kind of, you know, I always kind of say, you know, because you always see like bass players and drummers working together, guitar players and singers. We're always kind of like the Vinnie Paul Dimebag, you know, brothers, you know, guitar player, drums, you know. So we've been together for a long time. And then pretty much we're just looking to hang out, try something, just kind of maybe even stay local and kind of see where it goes from there. And we were out one night at a club, and there was a band playing, and I think they were opening for Soil. And I recognized the bass player, who's Ron, our bass player now, but I just kind of mentioned to him, like, hey, dude, are you looking to do any other side projects? You don't have to quit your other band, you know, just something fun to do. And he's like, sure, man. So we got him on board. And then I was at another club. I like to go to clubs a lot, but I was not, wasn't really looking, didn't even mean to go to this bar, but it was a really crappy bar, and just go and hang out and have a drink or something like that with some friends. And there was a band playing, and PA was terrible. The band was kind of so-so, and, you know, but this voice I kept hearing, you know, coming through the PA, just, you know, I'm like, after the first song, I'm like, you know, he's going to start cracking his voice or whatever. But then song after song, I keep hearing this guy sing, and I'm just like, I go up there and I watch him. I'm like, he looked cool. You know, he wasn't, you know, kind of had his head down, kind of like a, you know, just you could tell that he was putting a lot into it, but you could tell he was shy too, which I thought was really badass. And afterwards, I just talked to him, and I'm just like, dude, man, you need to look. I said, like I said to Ron, you know, I said, you don't need to quit your band, but I'm putting together a project. And that's where I met Jesse, and we hit it off. We became really good friends right off the bat. And so that's where the four of us kind of started, established playing together. And then we had another guitar player at the time, and it just kind of didn't work out, you know. So we separated with him for a little bit and kind of stayed as a four-piece, but we still needed that little extra kick. And that's when Randy Cooper kind of came in. Randy and I have been friends for years, you know. We know each other because he plays Dean guitars, and I work Dean guitars on occasion. So I would meet him either at the concerts or, you know, I think where we originally finally met was Rocklahoma, you know, a while back. And we hit it off. When he was in Texas Hippie Coalition, they were playing, and I was out there, I think, to work for like Triumph and Queensryche and film some of these bands and work with them. But I ended up hanging out with the THC boys, and we just hit it off, all of them. You know, the stories from that weekend were just amazing, and so we stayed tight ever since. And then when Randy left THC, he just kind of gave me a call, and it was actually almost a year ago now, because it was Super Bowl Sunday when he called me. He's like, Jason, man, I'm sitting at your airport right now, you know, right down the road. I fly through here. He's like, I just need to stay in, you know, stop in, come play in your band. I'm like, you're kidding me, right? It's like, no, dude. I'm like, all right, dude, let's make this happen. So we just locked Randy in, and pretty much when he came in, the album was we've already been in the studio recording it and kind of wrapping it up. And then we just said, you know, Jeff, our other guitar player, just said, dude, why don't you come in studio, learn the tracks, put your touch on it, put the Randy Cooper touch on it. And he goes, here, man, here's a bunch of solos, man, take those too. I mean, spots for solos, you know, and he just came in there, and you could definitely tell a difference between Jeff and Randy. And it just adds so much more, to the album, and something that we're really proud of.
That's cool. I was actually on the phone with Randy yesterday, and he was so excited about it, and I was kind of talking about that too, and we discussed the fact that I've always been partial to the twin guitar attack, Judas Priest, Maiden and stuff like that, and I think it adds him and Jeff playing together adds a depth and dimension to the Emperors and Elephants record. A good call.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's cool because being the drummer, I got Randy on my right, and then I got Jeff on my left, and I can really, I love hearing them do their separate things, and then coming together, and we even do the cover song of Wicked Game by Chris Isaac. We redid that, and one of my favorite solos, and it's the coolest thing ever live, just because I get to watch my band sitting down, every night, which is cool, and they harmonize a guitar solo together in Wicked Game. They meet in the center of the stage, and I'm always just like, that is just so badass. I'm just so down with that. And that's something I never really did with bands before. And seeing these guys, who really didn't know each other come together just through me being my friend, whatever, and having it work out too, because, guitar players could be, a little rough on each other. But man, Randy came in, and he's just like, dude, you just tell me what you want me to do. And Jeff's like, dude, whatever you want, man. They're very both laid-back guys, so it worked out really good.
That's cool. One of the things that super impresses me about Emperors and Elephants is the fact that everything is blended so well. I mean, nobody's trying to outdo each other on the record. The mix, and I'm talking the band. I'm not talking production quality. The mix of the band is outstanding. The drums, the bass, the guitars, the vocals, everything fits each other so well. There are so many bands out there that, the guitars, you can tell it's a guitar band because the guitars are out front in your face and trying to overshadow everything, or the drums or the vocals. The thing that hits me about Emperors and Elephants is you guys are a tight unit.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I always looked at it as like when Jeff and I started, like earlier bands, sometimes I'd be like, dude, this song, this great song doesn't even need a guitar solo. Every song doesn't need to have that, or, it doesn't need to have just a monster drums all over just destroying. Now, some bands it's great for, there's certain albums that you just love it. But for us, with Ron and I, our bass player, him and I he's like a big fan of Rammstein. It's nothing that sounds like our music, but him and I like that drive, the bass and drums behind it. And Jeff is just he can play, Jeff can play any of those, guitar, Paul Gilbert, all those Steve, that's the stuff he's always grown up on. But with our band, he's always just cool. He's all about the song, just making it straightforward. You can hear it on the album, man. His chug on there, it's just so solid and in the pocket. And that's something we really strive for, is keep everything in time. I play with a click track with the band. We want to sound tight, and we don't have to be so flashy with that, and we're really comfortable with it. So, thanks, man. That was a really cool, quote what you were saying about how you like the album like that.
Yeah, it works for you, and like you said, obviously there are bands that are centered around that stellar character, and it works for them. But, a band like yourselves is, it's a quality record in the fact you can put it on and listen to it, and there's such depth and feeling to everything that it makes it a good listen, if you get where I'm going with that.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, thank you, man. That's very cool. It's, when we started writing it, it's cool how it evolved, because, it started off with some songs that Jeff and I wrote a few years back from a previous band, and we just kind of took it, took 2 or 3 songs that we always liked. We took all the tracks, because Jeff used to produce, he still does a lot of producing with us, but, demoing, that is, but they're very high-end demos, and so he just took out all the old vocal tracks, and then we gave it to Jesse, and Jesse just brought these songs to life. And, everybody's kind of flavored it in there. So, and then Jesse started bringing songs. So it's kind of unique how it all kind of came together some stuff Jesse's been working on, some stuff Jeff and I worked on, and then stuff we all worked on together. And it all, you know, no two songs are really alike on the album, but you could definitely tell, you know, it's like there's a little feel there that you know it's Emperors, you know.
Right. It does have a good distinct sound, you know, and that's something that I try to shy away from is, you know, you see so many reviews or so many people talking about bands that, oh, they sound like this band or, oh, they sound like that band. And I really don't care for that analogy. You know, I hear influences of other bands, obviously, you know, what you know, who influenced you guys, but the sound is distinctly Emperors and Elephants, which is, to me, is the sign of a good band. You're not trying to sound like so-and-so or this band or that band. You're trying to sound like Emperors and Elephants, and it works.
Yeah, absolutely. That is one thing where I get really, really picky when we're recording or, you know, writing. And, yeah, if something comes off a little bit sounding too much like something else that we're not influenced by, yeah, we put a stop to it. But, you know, it's all pretty natural. And, yeah, we're going to get, you know, we've already been told you guys sound like this or that. You know what? That's cool, man. You know, like certain things that Jesse grew up on, you know, that's what he's been influenced on singing, you know, his entire life. So, you know what? I'm not complaining about his voice. Kid's badass.
Right. And that's good, you know, that you take that influence. But, you know, in musical diversity, and I've said this before in other interviews, you know, people that pigeonhole themselves and listen to, you know, one band, I listen to this band, they kick ass. Well, that's what you're going to get. You're just going to get a continuous of that record, you know,
right.
Next generation. And it's, you know, if you're not expanding your mind and growing and taking those influences and making them your own and making your own music, you're not going to have growth. So we're just going to have a stagnant situation. And we want growth. We want expansion in the music.
Totally. I mean, on this album, when you check it out, I mean, you know, our first song, it's just straight off, it's just, you know, it's straight rock, you know, there's not much to it, you know, just a straight rock tune. And then you got some stuff where we do have a little bit of electronics in it. And then we put a freaking ballad on the song, you know, and that thing's been, you know, that's been getting great reviews. We didn't know what people were going to think about it, but it's a personal song for us, especially to Jesse. I mean, he wrote it about one of his best friends that was murdered, literally just before he started, you know, like he did the lyrics like right after his friend was murdered, and so it means a lot to him, and it means a lot to us, and for to see it and take it off like that, people really accepting it's great. And then we got a cover song that we do on there, and then to end it off, we did a remix. You know, it's like we kind of, you know, and it also flavors together, but it's just like, you know, we don't want to be that. Yeah, like we said, we don't want it to be in every song sounding the same. Everything's a little bit different.
That's cool. Well, we're talking about the new record, Devil in the Lake. Let's go ahead and spin a track. This is called Your Will. We're going to listen to it. So 4 minutes and 9 seconds, and we're going to come back and we're going to talk about it. All right, that was brand new, Emperors and Elephants. Song's called Your Will. Give me a little bit of take on it, man.
That's not like that's like one of our favorite songs. Every band says every song is their favorite, but we were looking at a couple singles on the album. It's not our single. Our single is Who You Are, but seeing as this is out now, our album's out when this is being played. That's one that we're thinking about possibly being a second single. But when we wrote that song, that's something that Jeff and I had from a previous band we brought in. And we just always liked it because it has that hint of some keyboards, and there's some little drum loops in the background. I mean, all the drums are real, but there are some little elements there that we threw in there. And we also the thing is when you hear Jesse when he got his hands on that and sang it for the first time, it's like, Jesus Christ, man, this is some powerful stuff. This has to be heard, and all of us are really proud of that song. We even say, if there's one song to identify your band, I think Your Will is definitely the one song that does that.
Nice. It was a standout track for me as well, and I'm glad you chose that because it's one of my favorite songs on the record.
Cool.
So, Emperors and Elephants, brand new record. I know you're excited about that. It's out, pushing it. You going to hit the road and bring Emperors and Elephants to the world?
Yeah, absolutely. What I'm working on right now is hopefully I'll find out later today. We're some tour dates we're going to start with, and we're looking at possibly. Well, yeah, it's definite now. I just need to find out where we're going to be at. But it starts, I believe, like March 1st. We're going to let the album kind of sink in. It's been on a lot of radio stations and stuff like that, and getting in rotation and all that right now. So we're letting it sink in through February, and then we figured, let's just get out there and hit as many markets as we can. And like I said, we're getting there. I'm talking to the booking agent right now, so hopefully we'll be somewhere in some of your guys' area, and hopefully you guys will like us.
Absolutely, man. Live rock and roll is really one of the cool things that people need to get out and take part of now. It's a great way to escape your humdrum day-to-day world. You go out to a live rock show and meet people, and you might talk to people you never talk to outside, and you might hear of other bands that you might not have heard of too. So getting out to a rock show is a great way to socialize off the computer.
Yeah, oh, totally. It's like, just to get a little bit off the subject for a second, is I get to tour with the band Soil a lot. I work with them, and one of the most exciting things is every night I get to see the opening bands, the local opening bands, these guys that are they haven't left their town or not too, haven't done too much, but you see them selling tickets and pushing and getting these other kids to the clubs. Because, see, that's the thing, too, is when a national band tours, sometimes they might not draw in certain markets where you do need to rely on local bands, that play that market a lot. And those are the bands I love to see, I'm not going to say all of them are hits. You're going to have some duds in there. But,
absolutely.
Man, sometimes, man, you see that diamond in the rough. When we were doing a run with Soil down in Texas, I tell you what, that was probably all the markets, I'm like, watching all the opening bands, I'm like, wow, this is a hot area. These guys are really good. That's one market that just kind of stuck in my mind for a lot of the local bands.
Speaking of that, the industry, we've suffered some major blows, with the fall of the big labels, and then, with all the whole internet, downloading issues and whatnot. What's your take on being a musician in today's industry?
Well, it's funny because we're with Pavement Records, and I was talking to them, and they pretty much told me how it is. They're like, yeah, the music explained it pretty much how you explained it, but you know what? They're not sitting there candy coating anything, to get us on their label. They just basically said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to push you in these markets because that's just the only markets that you can really, do it. And it's people like you that keep this style of music, going around, because, you're not going to get the major labels that are going to take a smaller band like us and push it like that, and, Pavement gave us a great publicist, to get out there to talk to you and talk to all these other, other radio stations and different markets and everything like that. So yeah, it is a little bit tough, but you know what? Everything's been so positive because the people that really are behind music, they're behind us, and I didn't expect to get this much support this early on, and it's pretty overwhelming. I'm pretty excited about it. And the label is seeing it too, and they're letting us know, it's like, hey, you guys are getting a good buzz going. So, you know what? Yeah, it is a tough market, but, we're going to just keep kicking ass at it and just do whatever it takes, man. We'll just get our name out there and see what sticks.
See, that's the right attitude to have. I think that we're going to see a resurgence. I'm seeing a lot of younger bands that are getting back to the rock and roll roots. And I think that, if we think back in the days when rock was first, rearing its dirty, nasty, ugly head, it was a grassroots effort, people trading records and telling people about this band and that band before everybody woke up and took notice. And I think we're getting back to that, where people are talking about bands they like, and they're telling other people about bands they like, and I'm going to dig at the corporate radio a little bit. They only play, there's a certain number of songs that you keep hearing in regular rotation. And I don't know if they're afraid or what the deal is, but there's a lot of great new music being made out there, like Emperors and Elephants, that deserves the attention. And us underground movement, we're gonna give the attention that's needed.
Right on, man. Yeah, I agree. I appreciate that too. And I do see a lot of, obviously, the bigger radio stations just playing those hits and all that. But then there's also cool stations I've been noticing, and we've been getting our charts every week, and I keep seeing these smaller stations pick up, and they're putting in rotation. It's getting exciting, just seeing that, a little band like us that, some of these cities people are looking at us now and checking everything out, and and that's what I want to see. I see some other friends' bands. They're getting out there and doing that too, and it's, there's definitely going to be a turnaround. I mean, there's too much good music out there locally, and just in my area alone. I mean, there's so many good bands. So we're definitely getting heard, and the clubs know. They book us, It's not too hard, man. If you're a good band, they're supporting us.
Beautiful, man. So tell me about a live Emperors and Elephants show. I mean, you guys bring your performance and you draw the crowd in. Or what can we expect when we go see you guys live?
Hell yeah, man. We just have fun. First off, I mean, it's so exciting, especially now that we got Randy in there too, because he brings a lot of energy to the stage too, and just anyone that's seen us play, seen my singer Jesse sing, and I mean, he's just not just amazing vocally, but I mean, his stage presence, it's always badass. And we always kind of joke because, he's always like, man, he goes, Jason's the first drummer I ever played with where I walk off stage and they go and talk to the drummer first because, I'm twirling or whatever, for showing off or whatever. So he gets a kick out of that. But we play off each other. And back when we first started every night, he used to just, he'd be pumped up. And it'd be the last song, he'd run, jump right into my drum set, and we'd knock everything over, and it looked cool, but I said do it so we don't have to do an encore. Just kidding.
That's great. That's what we...
Yeah, I won't do it now. I won't do that now because I like my kid too much, but I'm sorry, what was that?
I mean, that's what we love, man, the spontaneity and the whole live portion. I've seen so many bands that, they're good musically, but they're not good on stage. Does that make sense? And,
oh, yeah.
I love it when a band realizes that it's damn fun to be on stage playing the music that they're playing. And then, that just generates more buzz in the crowd, which generates more energy, and then everybody feeds back off on each other. And for that moment, for that couple of hours, for that little bit of money they've spent to walk in that club, they have forgotten all the bills they got to pay and all the woes and worries, and they're just enjoying the moment. And that's the magic of rock and roll.
Absolutely, man. I tell you, because this is the one band that I've been in that I've actually got to see every single member in the band on stage prior to being, in a band with me. Well, actually, like Jeff, I've seen him play. He sits in with some people once in a while as a favor, and it's like I become a fan of his. I'm like, I'm sitting there in front row forgetting that he's in my band. I'm like, that dude's my guitar player. I'm like, that's badass. And then I've seen, Jesse, when I first found him, I'm like, I became a fan of him instantly. Seeing Ron on bass, I'm like, that's the dude I want in my band. And then obviously Randy Cooper, I've been seeing him for years, and I've been in the front row, and vice versa. He's watched me play and all that, and so it's I'm a fan of every guy in the band, and we definitely work off of each other, in the studio and on stage for sure.
Awesome, man. That's great. So, being a fan of music, why don't you give me a little rundown on how you got here, man? Who influenced you? What made you become who you are?
Boy, wow. Well, just a fan. Well, Kiss. There you go. I mean, when I was a little kid, that did it for me. But then, as a drummer, as soon as Eric Carr came in, forget about it, man. That was, Creatures of the Night album. I mean, I know he was in the with them prior to, but Creatures of the Night was just, you know how that is. And when you see I Love It Loud video, where he's on the tank and he's got the double kicks and all that, and that silver drum set, I'm like, bam, there you go, man. The Fox, man, he kicking ass. So that was definitely the biggest thing for me right there. And then obviously you got your Motley Crue, your Tommy Lee, who just always, I always like showman drummers, they just blow you away. But then I like solid drummers like Buddy Carlos from Cheap Trick, one of my all-time favorite guys too, and I grew up on Cheap Trick. So it just hearing all, I grew up in a great era of music. Unfortunately, when I was growing up, you didn't get to hear any of those things on the radio. You never heard Kiss on the radio. You never heard Judas Priest on the radio. But that's okay, because that would just get me to go down to the record store, buy the single or whatever, whatever I can afford, And that was the exciting thing. You remember when you used to come home and open up that album, just sit there, put the album on, just listen to every track on there and just stare at it, So, I mean, that's where it started from. And then just playing drums and just anything I can play, like in high school, just the talent show or whatever, getting a group of guys, even if they suck, getting together, because that's what it takes. Just, you got to start somewhere, and I wanted to play out right now. So to get where I'm at was a really long road, a lot of bands, a lot of other tours, whatever, but, that's the whole thing, man, right there. Just, I've never stopped loving music and never stopped wanting to be a part of it. So it's in my blood, and I think that's what you were telling me earlier. I think that's in yours too, how you're explaining, your history,
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a true statement. And I'm laughing as we talk here because I have the cover of Kiss Rock and Roll Over tattooed on my arm. So
cool. Nice.
I get it.
Nice.
That was the first rock concert I went to by myself was Kiss Destroyer, and I was infected. I had all the Kiss posters on the wall, and you name it, and I was infected. Is all I can say. And rock and roll's got in my blood, and it's still here today.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome, dude. Oh, just for you to see that tour too, man. That's badass.
Yeah, I've seen them all, throughout the years going, different players and whatnot. And, we've had many a discussion about Kiss, and they're not the greatest musical players, if you get my drift. But they brought everything you wanted to see as a young person in rock and roll. They got it. How many people have written a song that everybody knows the lyrics to this day, to keep that it's still Rock and Roll All Night will be played forever. It's never going to die. And, is it the best musically composed song? No. But is it very record?
No, I hear you, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, dude.
So,
hell yeah, I mean, yeah. Go ahead, sir.
No, I'm just saying, Emperors and Elephants, amazing band. You guys got the right mix, The record is great, Devil in the Lake. What's the plan for future recording, man? You guys, I know it's early. This record's just dropping, but you guys have already got to be writing, right?
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. Is we never stop writing. It's not like we really sit there and say, okay, tonight let's get together and write. It's and I've said it a million times, like before to friends and stuff like that, talking about how we work together. Is that we record this album, but we were still writing other tracks, not even potentially for this album. Actually, I'll change the subject for a second here. We were done with the album, and then we decided to like Jesse and Jeff got together, and Jesse just had a couple chords, and just threw it at Jeff. Jeff started playing it, and Jesse had all these freaking amazing lyrics. If you listen to the song Ghost, that was written in 5 minutes outside our practice outside our practice house, right on the porch there, just before we start practicing. You know, we're all sitting out there. We always sit and hang out before practice, have a couple beers, you know, and just kind of shoot the shit and everything. And when we said, I just walked in and these guys got this song, it's done. You know, they wrote it, literally played it twice. It was done. We went and recorded it, and we're like, you know what, let's just throw it on the album. So that we had no intention of putting on the album, but it just sounded so cool. So we barely even played it live or anything yet. So what you hear, that's really raw, you know, and it's definitely, it's very real too. And so to get back on the main question is, yeah, there's always writing. Jeff and Jesse, like anytime you come to band practice, those guys are always kind of sitting off in the other room or sitting somewhere, and Jesse will come with 2 chords, and then Jeff will just pick it up, and then boom, Jesse's got this thing where he just knows how to structure a song. And if we're at practice and we're all hanging out in between practice and sets, he's always in the corner writing lyrics out or something like that. You know, he's always trying to create something new. You know, that's just, it's such a positive thing on the band, seeing how excited he gets and gets us excited, and, you know, and then if we just keep pushing out, you know, more songs. Now all of them aren't that great, whatever. We try it, you know, some are hits, some are misses, but you know what? We're still writing, we still enjoy doing it. So we might pull a part of a song that from here and put it there. You know, that's a typical way to write a song, but yeah, we'll definitely have stuff ready for the next album, but yeah, we're definitely pushing this one as much as we can right now.
Nice. Well, it's definitely, you know, a good thing you guys got going on. There's a lot of media attention. You know, I've been paying attention to Emperors and Elephants as it's progressed up until the release of this record, and a lot of good buzz, a lot of good support behind you guys. I've seen lots of people post, lots of people excited about the release coming up. And in fact, when I posted my status the other day, I said I'm listening to the new Emperors and Elephants record, and I got a lot of jealous replies. People are waiting for it to drop, so I'm excited for you guys.
Cool, dude. Thanks a lot, James. Too, man. And when you reached out to us, that meant a lot too, because you know I followed you, you know, in the past and everything. And when I heard that you were interested in doing an interview and hearing the album, I'm like, hell yeah, I want to see what you think about it.
You know, that makes me feel good too. You know, the fact that you know that the bands are wanting to hear what people are listening to and what they're talking about, and that makes, you know, me as a writer, makes me feel good when bands, you know, want me to check out their stuff. That's awesome, and it makes it even cooler when it's really a good product. You know, and I'm not going to lie to you. There's stuff out there that, you know, I get submitted that it's not that good. Not for lack of trying, they just need a little help on it. You know, and I, as a writer, don't want to call somebody in public on it. You know, so I'll talk to them offline about it. And you know, it's cool to get support. But you guys, man, like I said, 15 out of 10, dude. That record, it got me, and that's a no bullshit assessment right there. You know, I hadn't talked to you guys before. You know, I knew Coop obviously from the past. I don't have any, you know, affiliation with you guys whatsoever, than, you know, that I'm listening to you. So that's an unbiased opinion right there. That's where I'm going with it, and that's a true from my ears. 15 out of 10. I mean it.
Dude, thank you so much. That means a lot, dude. It really, really does, especially for such a green band like us that's, you know, a couple of years old, you know, and hearing that stuff like that, and then, you know, when the record label just goes, you know, which song we're gonna pick for a single, because there's, you know, there's a good handful in there. You know, that's not a bad day when you hear that. You know, it's like it's not a problem.
Sweet. We're talking to Jason, Emperors and Elephants, brand new record, Devil in the Lake. It actually drops this Tuesday, which is the day this interview will air. It's going out to 140 countries right now. I got readers in 140 countries. Jason, the floor is yours. Tell people where they can find you. Tell people where they can buy the record, and tell them what you want to tell them.
Well, I got to tell you, I mean, you can find us on Facebook, which is obviously a great media place, but you can go to emperorselephants.com. Just kind of glanced over at my emails. I do see tour dates here, and I am going to kind of throw out there. I don't know if it's 100%, but it looks like our first show is in Battle Creek, Michigan. And our last is in Houston, Texas, and there's a bunch in between. But we're just come out and give us a chance, man. Check out the single. Let us know. Come by on our Facebook. Let us know. Like us individually. I talk to anyone that wants to on Facebook, and I like to hear the reviews. I like to hear. It gets exciting when some people will hit me up on Facebook like, dude, you're being played in Vegas right now on a station or anywhere, Iowa. Somebody just told me that. And that gets me excited. It's like, wow, this is really happening. People like you are making this work for us, and that's just an amazing thing, It's really, really cool. So, yeah, just thank you, and just keep checking us out.
Cool, man. I got to thank Pavement and Sean O'Donnell for making this interview happen. I got to thank all the guys in Emperors and Elephants for making a kick-ass record and giving, the world a little hope for the return of rock and roll music, which it will. And, personally got to thank you, Jason, for giving up some time to talk to us today.
Right on. Thanks, James. I really appreciate it too, brother.
All right. This is the Hellion Rocks. I'm talking to Jason from Emperors and Elephants, a band you definitely need to check out. Devil in the Lake comes out Tuesday, the 21st, I believe, and you've got to pick this record up. It's a must-have if you like good, straightforward rock and roll music. The Hellion Rocks, we're out.